This Week in Connecticut with Dennis House starts now.
Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, October 20th, 2024. Straight ahead today, new polling in the race for the 5th Congressional District. Mike Cerulli on what it means. Also, could marijuana be fueling the rise in speeders and reckless drivers? We'll ask the Chief of Police of Middletown, Erik Costa, who also knows a thing or two about the problems his city's dealing with. Plus, the Commissioner of the DMV, Tony Guerrera, with changes in the way we renew our licenses. And the head of the Connecticut Forum, Mana Zarenajan. First up, though, the race for Connecticut's most competitive congressional race, CT5, the 5th, between Congresswoman Jahana Hayes, a Democrat, and Republican challenger George Logan. Here's News 8's Mike Cerulli with the very latest in our exclusive poll.
Exclusive new polling shows a neck-and-neck race for the 5th District. Hayes leads Logan among likely voters by 3 points. 5% of those likely voters said they were undecided. The rivals had similar reactions to the poll.
It is a snapshot in time and should not affect how hard we work. We run 10 points behind all the time, and we work right up until Election Day.
Now we all know that this is going to be a close race, and it's actually coming to that. So we're going to be scratching and clawing all the way to the end of Election Day.
2 years ago, Hayes beat Logan by less than 1 percentage point in a hard-fought campaign. So what's on voters' minds in this year's election? The top issues voters identified in our poll is the economy, followed by the cost of housing, threats to democracy, and immigration. Overall, a slight majority said they think our state is headed in the wrong direction. That number was larger among independent voters.
Certainly, you're not going to feel that your state or your district or the country is going in the right direction if you're having a hard time paying for your grocery bills.
I listen to what voters say. When people come to me and they're talking about their concerns, I listen to that and I tell them, this is my vision going forward. These are the types of policy proposals that I would support.
Looming over this congressional race is the presidential race. Our new poll showing another dead heat among 5th District voters. Vice President Harris leads former President Trump by just 1 point in the district. Joe Biden won it by more than 10 points in 2020.
We're seeing a narrowing in some of these otherwise very blue states. And this district being a swing district, you're going to see the most narrowing there.
To learn more about our polling and to view our voter guide, you can go to WTNH.com or the free News 8 app. Reporting in Waterbury, I'm Mike Cerulli, News 8.
And we have more analysis of the 5th District race coming up on Capitol Report at 10:30. Now to the city of Middletown, dealing with many of the same problems cities and towns across Connecticut have been dealing with, but there is some positive news to report as well. I sat down this week with the Chief of Police. And joining us now is the Chief of Police of the great city of Middletown, Erik Costa. Chief Costa, good to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate having me.
So give me a little bit about your background. I was reading some things about you and FBI training, everything, but tell me about your background.
Yeah, I'm originally from Rhode Island, came into the state of Connecticut as a Connecticut State Trooper. I did 20 years with the Connecticut State Police. I retired at the rank of lieutenant from Troop F in Westbrook was my last assignment. I had the opportunity to work 8.5 years in major crime, dealing with some of the biggest cases in the state of Connecticut. Very fortunate to work with the state police. I moved on and retired and worked at Mitchell College for a little piece during the pandemic.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to work with a lot of local colleges. And then I moved on and had the opportunity to come to the city of Middletown and become the chief.
Tell me about the force in Middletown right now, because so many cities and towns in Connecticut are struggling to find officers.
We're fortunate. We are going to be at full staffing here soon. We have 3 people in the academy at the entry level.
Okay.
I agree. There's been some struggle to get entry levels in and people to come into the career field. But we really truly feel that the pendulum is moving towards bringing people back to the profession.
Yeah, for a while, police were getting a bad rap, and so younger people didn't want to go into the force. Is that what you were finding?
Absolutely. But we're in Middletown specifically, we're looking to build upon the new generation of interests in their strengths to bring into the police department. Because believe it or not, I think it comes down to is that people say, oh, the new generation just thinks differently, does things differently, but we're finding that they're more skilled coming into the workforce. And so we try to build upon those strengths and build it into what we need as a police department.
And so other cities and towns that are struggling to find officers, what makes Middletown Police such a great place to work?
We're very fortunate to have a great city, and we give a good benefit package for our officers, but at the same time, from the police chief down to the mayor's office and the citizens themselves, we value our officers and value for them as the people that they are. And again, that when you value them, they tend to have a good work environment and a positive outlook in dealing with the public and being part of our department.
Last week we had a state trooper on here who was talking about the just such an increase in speeding.
Yes.
Right? People are going reckless speeds. I know you've had them in Middletown. Why do you think that is?
I think we've seen a little bit of a lack of enforcement over some of the things, struggles we've had here in the state of Connecticut. I think a lot of it comes down to is we're trying to figure out what's the best way to service the needs of the public and at the same time to enforce law on the highways. I think the digital traffic camera law that just passed, I think that's going to be a great tool for law enforcement. But at the same rate, we have to get back into the mode of public safety, traffic safety, and push a narrative, not just on the side of the road pulling over cars, but at the same time through our social media, through our interactions with the public and our stakeholders to change that type of culture.
I want to talk a little bit about cannabis and marijuana. Have you seen any problems because of its legalization? It's now been out there for a while. Because someone said to me last week, I wonder if the speeding is related to all the new pot smokers out there, right? People are doing it as they drive, right? I mean, I see it, I smell it. Is there any evidence at all that it's creating any problems?
Cannabis has been a problem, not just here in Connecticut, but across the nation in regards to the new law. We haven't had any issues that we can pinpoint to say it's marijuana, but it's becoming more and more difficult to test. I know the state of Connecticut has also invested in the phlebotomist program to test blood, to determine intoxication, and to detect potential cannabis being in the system. But those levels of cannabis still can't be decided to say, is that the reason for intoxication? So we're still working through that, but we think we're going to get ahead of it soon.
Yeah, I mean, they say there'll be technology maybe down the road where you can pull someone over and you can tell if they've been smoking. Right now, it's just kind of a guess, right?
And I think it's so important that we work with the legislative body to say what's best, what are we seeing, and have the data reinforce some of the regulations that we're seeing coming out of the legislature.
There's been so much talk about this road behind you, Route 9.
Route 9, I know.
Because they want to redo it. Where does it stand right now, and why is it such a problem?
They're still in the study phase of Route 9, taking out what they call the traffic lights on Route 9 to make it easier. There has been, the old exit 13 on Route 9 has been a major motor vehicle accident location. I think right now they're in the study phase where they're trying to ensure that the historical piece around the area is done so they're not disturbing something they don't know about. And then they're doing a lot of workshops with the public so they can hear what the public needs are, as well as the local Chamber of Commerce to ensure it doesn't affect businesses on Main Street.
And you're obviously on a big body of water, the Connecticut River.
We are.
Does that impact the way that your officers have to be trained to have certain water training and maybe to deal with drunk boaters and things like that?
Absolutely. We have the top trained divers. We partner with very well with our fire departments here in the city of Middletown, which have great divers. Unfortunately, we also have a bridge that connects us to Portland. We tend to have some tragedies that come off that bridge as well, the Aragoni. So to have a good, well-trained marine unit is definitely something that's needed for the city of Middletown.
What's the top crime problem you have in Middletown?
Right now, it's motor vehicle theft is our biggest issue. Yes, and we're trying to work with our state's attorney. We have a great state's attorney in Middlesex County that works with us. The problem is we see that demographic of that 17 to 25-year-old still involved in those motor vehicle thefts, but we're working on programming and initiatives through mentorship to try to curb that.
You know, back in the olden days, you'd see in movies people, you know, crossing wires underneath the dashboard and you could start a car, but it's much more sophisticated now. So how are they stealing cars?
A lot of times people, it's the thief that is, you know, has opportunity. People leave their fobs in their cars, unlock garages, unlock side doors to the garages. They're able to get, even break into the house and get to where the keys are just inside the door. Okay. We've seen a lot of that. A lot of thieves have a lot of gumption to go into houses and actually take the cars.
So people are helping them in a way,
absolutely,
you know, inadvertently. And in terms of, you know, we're hearing a lot of like Kias and Hyundais being stolen. Why is that?
They have a factory defect that we're finding that they're able to easily turn over the ignition and start the car.
So what do they do with these cars once they're stolen? Are they sold? Are they used in drug trafficking? Or?
They're used for joyriding most of the time. Okay. Most of the issues. Also, there is transportation. get to one side of the state to the other, from New Haven to Hartford, and we happen to be in the middle. And so many other cities connect neighborhoods and cities with stealing of cars.
If you had a question for the governor or the U.S. senators as to what the federal government and the state government could do for the city of Middletown and for the police department, and really police everywhere, what would it be? What would you ask for?
There's a lot of things I could ask for, but the most important thing, and I'll go back to it, with the job career field that we're in, what we ask from our politicians is support, and verbally come out and say that law and order is very important and support our police officers. We make mistakes, we're human like anybody else, but we do have to be perfect, and by doing that, we have to make sure we are funded and have the right programming in place that actually fits the needs of our communities, and to listen to the Connecticut Chiefs of Police Association when it comes to certain logistics, when it comes to laws and ordinances and things that get passed.
And tell me about your role in the Police Chiefs Association. You have a new title there, correct?
I do. I'm the president of the Capital Region Chiefs of Police, and I sit on a number of committees for the Connecticut Chiefs of Police, to include highway safety. Those things are very important. Those bodies we take very seriously. We caucus a lot. We work very well with the governor's office. We're looking to build upon that, so our voice is heard, as every city has their own needs, and that those needs need to come together and have one alignment and push with the governor's office.
He is Chief Erik Costa from the Middletown Police Department. We appreciate you being on here, Chief.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Best of luck out there.
Thank you.
And after this commercial timeout, the head of the Department of Motor Vehicles, Tony Guerrero.